everybody, welcome to the week 9 video for the Kombucha lab. You are nearing the end of the Kombucha project. You have done a really great job and you're almost finished. So this week, week 9, you'll be summarizing your data, and then next week, week 10, you'll turn in a poster with your lab group. And so during lab this week, week 9, you will meet with someone from a different group. Ideally, someone from the other side of the room, but part of that will depend on how many people are in your lab and where they sit. But you'll meet with someone from a different lab group and you will explain your project to them. The reason that we want you to do this is even though the poster looks big, the words are also really big. You have to be able to read the poster from about 3 feet away, and so there's not as much space to write stuff as it seems like there would be for the size of the poster. And so this week, we really want you guys to practice how are you going to explain what you changed in your jar and what you found out. And then we're hoping that you can take what you learned this week about communicating your project and use that to make your poster next week, your poster writing process for next week, go a lot more smoothly. So most of what you need to know for this week is actually about the pre-lab, because what you'll be doing in lab is walking the other person through your pre-lab. So let's have a look at the pre-lab. So we'll go to the Moodle. We will go to week 9. And you're going to click on Kombucha Summary, Week 9 Pre-Lab. Okay. And so similar to, I think it was Week 5, the Week 9 Pre-Lab is entirely written. There is no online Moodle part, so it has been divided into 2 parts for grading purposes. So for Part A, you're going to talk about the yeast CFU per mil concentration and then the acid produced. Hopefully this all makes sense to you. If not, you could go back and watch the week 8 video and that should give you some tips. You'll write down which notebook person you were last week. So on week 8, which notebook person were you? You will turn in a document for the week 9 notebook, which I'll show you later in this video, but you will not do a normal notebook for week 9. So this is which notebook person were you for last week? And then what did you change in your jars? How did you expect your change to influence your response variable? And then what background does someone need to know? So if you changed your white sugar to molasses, maybe the person needs to know like what's in molasses and how might it affect your microbes. So, okay, so all of that is in Part A. What did you change? How did you think it was going to affect your results? And what information would someone need in order to understand that? For Part B is results and conclusions. And so you're going to make a graph. The graph that you make will be determined by the notebook person that you were on week 8. So if you are person A, C, or E, then you'll need to make a CFU per mil graph, and hopefully these numbers are in your OneDrive folder. If not, they should be in your notebook, and you can just zip by the lab room and get those. If you're person B, D, or F, then you're making a TTC graph, and those values should, again, be in your OneDrive folder, or they might be like here on Moodle, just depending on how your instructor does it. So you're going to make the graph, and then you will print the graph, and you will attach it to this document. So you're not going to paste it in here, but you are going to bring it with you and turn it in. So you'll print out your graph, color it in if it's in black and white so people can tell what's happening. And then you're going to write out text results describing what your graph shows, and then you're going to write conclusions, and then you're going to find some pictures that go with your results and conclusions. Again, all of this is in service of helping your poster creation to go smoothly, and you're going to need some pictures for your poster. So you'll fill this. So you'll fill out this whole pre-lab print it all, print out your graph, bring it with you. During the quiz, your instructor will check it to make sure that you have it finished, and then they will give it back to you. And then during the in-lab time, you're going to meet with someone from a different lab group and basically walk them through your pre-lab. Here's what we plan to change. Here's how we thought it was going to work. Here's what our graph looked like. Here's what we think happened. Here's some pictures that support. And then they will have a page where they write down what they think you're telling them, and then they'll write down what tips they have for you. You are not graded on this, like you're graded if you have the page, but you're not graded on the remarks that they give you. We're just trying to help your poster be better. So if you think that you're explaining thing 1, but that when you see the page and they wrote down that you were saying thing 2, like your explanation is going to need some work before next week. If they wrote down exactly what you thought you were saying, then your explanation is good and you're ready to use it on the poster. And so again, all of this week is to help your poster to go better. So you'll do the pre-lab, you'll come to lab and meet with someone else from your lab. And then, actually can't remember if this is on Moodle or not. It is, it's down here at the bottom. Okay, for your week 9 notebook points, you're going to do this week 9 notebook entry, which is mysteriously a PowerPoint. Okay. Hold, please. All right. So this week 9 notebook entry, which your instructor may print for you, but if not, you can get it from Moodle, tells you what you're going to turn in for your week 9 notebook. So you will have notebook points for week 9, and this should be a high scoring notebook for you. Like there's no reason that this should go badly. You just have to be sure that you have all this. So you're gonna do the pre-lab, you're gonna come to lab, explain your project to someone else, and then I told you that they are gonna fill out a peer evaluation sheet. They give that sheet to you, and you put that sheet in your notebook after you've read it over. That sheet is worth 2 points, just having it. Then you're gonna write down which of the 2 response variables your group decides to include on your poster. Then you're gonna figure out who is writing which part of the poster. You want everybody to have about the same amount of work to do. We'll talk about that in a second. And then once you know which part everybody is writing, then you're going to each individually write an outline about what's going to be in your part. This is the place that you could lose points, so be sure that this is good so your notebook grade is high. Okay, so the reason that you could possibly lose points on this, people lose points when they are too vague. And so I want you guys, remember, the whole point of week 9 is to make your poster good. And so I want you, once you know which part of the notebook you're doing, I want you to think about exactly what you're going to say, not, I will say some stuff about brown sugar. This is not helpful. Because what exactly are you going to say when it comes time to write the poster? Like, you don't know. And so that's not what we want. What we want is something like this, where you very specifically write out, it can be in bullet form or arrow list form or whatever, does not need to be in sentences, but it needs to clearly explain what is going to be in your part of the poster so that I can know that you know what you're going to write, and we can both be sure that it's going to score well when you work on your poster for next week. Okay? And then your group will turn in a drawing of your poster. If you need some tips on what posters can look like, then just go in the hallway and look at examples. Okay. Let's go back to, so we're going to go to week 10 for a second and then come back and talk about the post-lab. So week 10, we'll get to that on the next video. But I want to show you the poster grading sheet. Okay, so this is all of the parts of the poster and how many points each one is worth. And so everyone for the poster is going to get scored out of 20 points. So we will scale this. There's like an example on the last page how the scaling happens but we scale this out of 20 points for everyone. Because everybody gets the same grade, you will want to be sure everybody does a comparable amount of work. You don't want someone to be just have title and formatting, because that is not a lot of work, and they could easily get 20 points on that, whereas the person writing the conclusions would have more work to do to get their 20 points. So as you guys are doing the list stating who's responsible for each part of the poster, do consider how much work each part is and try to get everybody with the same amount of work. Okay, back to week 9. Okay, so at the end of week 9 is just a little bit different. Normally at the end of lab, you guys can do the optional person B to F evaluation and you get bonus points for that. This week is non-optional and is not bonus. So everyone must do the lab goals self-evaluation, and it is worth actual points. And so it's really important that you do it and you don't forget. This is not optional. It is mandatory and it is worth points. And so what you're going to do for this is you will rank yourself from 1 to 4 on each of the lab goals. So how well do you feel like you mastered this semester? And then if you scored yourself well, give a story telling when you did it well. If you scored yourself badly, then say something about how you were confused, how you think you could have done better, or how the lab manual could have helped you to do better. And then there's different places to give additional feedback. All of the numbered things are required. All of the additional feedback things are optional. Okay, so you'll finish this. And then when it's completely finished, you will upload it back to week 9, right here where it says upload week 9 post-lab reflection here. So week 9 is a little bit different. Make sure that you don't forget to do the post-lab because it is worth actual points and very easy points. So have a great week.